Hello and welcome to the Wales YFC podcast, YFC and Me. Thank you for supporting the movement by listening to this podcast, and I hope you enjoy the guest that's about to speak.
Good morning and welcome to this edition of the Wales YFC and Me podcast. My name is Katie Court and I come from the Glamorgan Federation of Young Farmers, from a club called Gower Young Farmers, and I'm the current Wales YFC Vice Competitions Chairman. And it's my privilege today to interview a person that many of you may already know as an ex-Wales YFC Chairman, Miss Laura Elliott. Morning, Laura.
Morning, Katie.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yeah, struggling on. We're into week, 12, 13 now of lockdown. So it's, yeah.
And how have you been coping with lockdown?
Yeah, not too bad on the whole, I think. It's, I've developed two, I would say, probably unhealthy relationships. One with my fridge and one with online delivery drivers.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, so, the bank balance has taken a bit of a pummeling, but I'm really fortunate that I am able to work from home. So, I'm not unaware of how lucky I am to be able to do that. And also fortunate to be surrounded by open space and with good broadband, which, having lived in Gower for most of my life, I definitely do not take for granted. So
yeah, I'm sure there's probably many listeners listening to this in rural areas who are a bit envious of your broadband capabilities there. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Laura, for those listeners who may not know you as well as some others do.
So as you said, I'm a past chairman of Wales YFC, which is probably the most apt role that I've held in terms of recording this podcast. So I'm 32. I currently live in Chelmsford in Essex, having moved about 18 months ago from Gower, as you say, in the Glamorgan Federation of Young Farmers. And my involvement with Young Farmers has it's coming on to just over 20 years now. So,
wow.
Long history of involvement. And the role I'm currently holding is I'm still on the NFYFC Board of Management.
Oh, cool.
And for work, I work for Essex County Council as a project sponsor in major infrastructure, so project management kind of role. But it's interesting and different to sort of the day-to-day of what I was used to when I was heavily involved in Young Farmers.
I can imagine. And I bet living now in Essex is a completely different sort of way of life and environment to what it was back at home down in the Gower. Yeah,
so I moved, as I said, 18 months ago, and it was quite a change. I wasn't overly, so I moved because my fiancé is from Essex, and it was a bit of a shock. But I'm still very lucky here because I live relatively close to Chelmsford, so relatively close to good amenities and everything. But we're still in quite a rural area,
nice,
with lots of green space and countryside. So it is a bit of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a bit of a commute back to Gower, a bit of at the mercy of the motorway gods, depending on how easy a journey you'll have. But I'm lucky that family and friends have made a big effort, including yourself, to make the trip up, and we're able to keep in touch really easily these days. So it's not so bad. You don't feel far from home.
No, you don't, do you? You don't. Even during lockdown, like you said, you've just been able to use facilities like we're using this morning, Zoom, to keep in touch with people, and that's been a really important thing, I think, for everybody, hasn't it?
Oh, hugely important. And that you can't underestimate how much your spirits can rely on that kind of human contact, and just being able to, be able to harness that through a screen at the moment. I'm probably doing see more people face to face now since we've been in lockdown than before, because I was terrible for send a lot of texts, don't necessarily pick up the phone an awful lot. But it's a new way of adapting to kind of keeping up relationships, and something that I hope we don't lose when we, emerge back to some more semblance of normality.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with that. I think it's something that we need to try and keep hold of as a new way of norm, and keeping in touch with people as we try to get back to some sort of normality in the future, isn't it? Fab. So that's a little bit about you and where you are now. So tell us a little bit about how your YFC journey started, Laura.
So I think, like many people, I've got a sort of long-standing family connection to young farmers. My parents met in young farmers, and when I was growing up, before kind of pre-membership age eligibility, my father was president of our local club, and so you were always taken around to young farmers competitions and supporting the events, and it was that thing that existed to look forward to, and that age of 10 was the holy grail of when your YFC sort of formal life could start.
Yeah.
And I always much looked forward to it, and used to sit in the back of the meeting rooms, unofficially, just observing what was going on. And it was just something that I couldn't wait to start doing.
Oh, yeah, it is. I think there's a lot of young members who have been able to get involved with the virtual stage that we've had running this year during lockdown, that it's really started whetting their appetite for young farmers, even more so than they already were. So what's one of your first memories of young farmers, Laura?
Oh, I think it was, I have a terrible memory. And I think one of the things in the last couple of weeks, Glamorgan have been putting some of the pictures from previous rally days and rally books, and annual kind of yearbooks online, which has been brilliant, just to look back through and see kind of, people's parents, people's grandparents, the clubs that no longer exist in Glamorgan and have since closed and that kind of thing, which has been really fun to look through. And one of the pictures that came up was a picture of a group of about 6 of us, fairly sodden, having taken part in the Wet and Wild competition at Rally Day. And I think it was my first rally in 1999.
Wow.
And I remember what T-shirt I was wearing. I remember I had a pair of those kind of Reebok popper trousers on.
Nice.
And I was sitting in a wheelbarrow with a bucket between my feet. And Peter Bevan, who is one of our past chairman of Gower and club leader, was wheeling me into a slurry tanker, spraying water, obviously, pre-risk assessments.
Yeah.
And just getting absolutely soaked, trying to catch as much water as possible, and then sprinting back up to the other end of the menage at Pencoed College.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of my earliest memories, which actually was only brought to attention in the last couple of weeks. But that's one of my earliest memories as a member, I think.
Yeah, I think as a member that joined a little bit after you, I think those competitions are the ones that, older members and past members talk about, that we always are a little bit gutted that we haven't had the opportunity to do, because they just sound hilarious. The Wet and Wild these days are nowhere near the Wet and Wild that you lot all experienced.
No. I mean, many things have changed for the better, but there are those little aspects where, and I think Rally Day is the perfect example of that, is where you can harness a lot of fun through the competitions. You don't need to prepare for them. You can just rock up, team of 5, and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So we've touched on it a little bit already, where we've mentioned that you were Wales YFC Chairman, and you currently sit on board of management with YFC. But tell us where your YFC journey then led you to, really.
So I was, as I say, joined in 1999, Club Gower, brilliant club, quite small in the grand scheme of things, probably across Wales. But it meant that we had a very close-knit group. We had excellent support in terms of club leaders and parents and things like that. And it meant that you had a lot of exposure to things because we weren't a huge club. There was plenty of opportunities to get involved quite early on. Took on some club roles, and then had a bit of a break when I went to university. I went to University of Newcastle for 4 years, so moved away from Gower. My parents were still quite frustrated that I used to fly back to take part in competitions. But, you know, I didn't want to lose the YFC connection entirely.
Definitely not.
But I think on reflection, actually, it was quite good for me because I got out of the kind of small bubble and had a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Whereas I was still involved, but not as heavily as I had been. And from there, I came back, moved back to Gower after university in 2010. And I think that was the end of your first year as a member.
Yeah, I think I met you in the AGM where you were just going back to finish your final year. So you were home for the AGM. And then, that was my first YFC meeting. And the first person I met was you. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. Well, it was when I came back from uni, it turned out that it was a perfect time. I took on the role of chairman. And I hadn't been vice chairman, and it was just a pure happenstance that that there was nobody that was wanting to do it. And which sounds awful, but with a small club that happens regularly, and people will step in to lead the club. And it was perfect timing for me because I came back from university, had a lot of time to give to it, But the only thing was that because I'd been away, I didn't know really well some of the younger members in club. So it was a good experience in terms of harnessing and forging relationships really quickly.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been in the club meeting room from week to week. But I think that was one of my favourite years in Young Farmers was as club chairman. We had such a good group, and always have done since and before. A great group of members and supporters, and through that, you get the opportunity to sit on kind of the county committees and represent the club views and things like that. And that's how I got a taste for involvement in county meetings. And I think you always got tarred with the brush of probably going to be willing to do
something
more roles if you're willing to sort of talk a lot in the meetings, which can be a good and a bad thing. It was I think when you start getting involved in kind of roles beyond the club, it becomes a bit like a sort of travelator, and if you've got the appetite to, you do just progress. And that's what happened with me. And I was sitting then on Wales committees representing Glamorgan. I was commissions chairman and vice chairman of Glamorgan. And I remember, I think a turning point for me in kind of moving out of county roles onto Wales was I applied for the Rural Youth Europe Autumn Seminar.
Okay.
Part of the travel programme. And I didn't get it. And I was gutted, because it was going to Denmark and I really wanted to go to Denmark, and they offered me a space on the European rally team, which ordinarily would be amazing, but I think the take hadn't been brilliant because Wales were hosting it. So it meant, the word travel for me meant to go from Glamorgan to Margam, which is in Glamorgan. So at the time I remember thinking, I'm not going to lose anything here, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And because obviously Wales were hosting, there were a lot of Wales YFC officers involved in that week. And you get to be part of a team with other people from across Wales, as well as then the rural youth organisations across Europe.
Yeah.
And it's such an eye-opener to the scale of rural youth organisations and how we all work together, and the kind of platforms and forums that we're all involved in.
Yeah.
And I think before then, when I used to go to the Royal Welsh, you used to see the Wales YFC officers, and they used to, have the purple T-shirts and that kind of thing. And it never struck me as something that I would do, because it felt like, this isn't a criticism, it felt like, that was, the echelons, the elite group of people that were, holding those roles, and they were on stage at the Royal Welsh. And it's a fairly naive opinion to have, but it just seemed like something that was beyond of,
but it's
political member.
It's probably something that we forget, that our junior members probably think of our county officials and our club officials. Yeah. And it's just that as you sort of get older and you sort of move through the movement, that you suddenly your goalposts almost shift, doesn't it? Yeah. And then you sort of, the Wales officers then become the officers that are, oh my gosh, how did they get there, sort of thing? Because you're holding something in county then, isn't it? Yeah. It's like the goalpost just moves along.
And it's purely just having the attitude of being open to opportunities. Yeah. And it's, that don't be afraid of failure, because I think the turning point for me in terms of extending my YFC career was failing to get on that Rural Youth Europe trip.
Yeah.
And ending up at the rally, which was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Mm-hmm. And, the friendships that you made and that exposure that you had to officers and the faith people put in you. And I remember Gwenann Jenkins and Adwell Jones were the officers of the competition steering group that I sat on.
Yeah.
And I remember them saying to me, have you thought about maybe going for vice comps? And it's only because someone shows a bit of faith in you that then you possibly have the confidence to think, oh, well, maybe I would put myself forward for that.
Yeah, maybe I can.
Yeah. And then that year was, I went in as vice Wales competitions, and I was doing vice chairman of county at the same time. And I did the senior member of the year competition in Glamorgan.
Yeah.
I'd done it twice before, I think. And, come nowhere near the prizes. And just thought, oh, well, I'll give it one more go, because it was my last year of competing. And was lucky enough to win in Glamorgan, and then won at the Wales finals, which were in Swansea in the Grand Theatre.
Yeah.
And so then 2015 competed in the national finals in Torquay and won NFYFC Senior Member of the Year. And that then, in a June council meeting 3 months later, we were looking for a temporary cover for the Wales rep on the NFYFC Board of Management.
Okay.
And Adwell said, oh, well, maybe our Senior Member of the Year should do it. So...
nothing like another member dropping you in it, is there?
Yeah. So you just say yes. Do you know what I mean? And then I did that, and then the position came up formally, and I applied for the position, and then I got involved at national, and that I'd had probably very little exposure other than knowing what my dad had done with national when he was a member, and the European committees he sat on and that kind of thing. But I genuinely think that failure to get on the seminar trip was the catalyst for all of that.
Yeah.
Because, I'm no different from other members that have come up through young farmers with myself, had the same experiences at club and county level.
Yeah.
And it's just the way that life falls, and it's being willing to take those opportunities if they're presented to you, whether they work out or not.
Yeah, exactly. And it might, like you said, it might not be the way that you'd planned. Like you planned to be going to Denmark, but you ended up in Margam and had probably, dare I say, a better time than you would have in Denmark.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's that I regret that I didn't come to the travel program until quite late on. So 2025 when I was applying for that, and I'd known about it. So it was through no fault of, publication or endorsement. I knew it existed, but it's that perfect excuse of the timing was never right. And I was just lucky then that the rural youth trips went up to 30. So I was able to do the rally in Ulster and a 2-week stay in Northern Ireland on top of that in subsequent years. But I wish my appetite had been whet for that a little earlier on, so that I could have taken advantage of it a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it is becoming a lot more widely popular, isn't it, across the counties now, to go on these trips a lot younger. I think because some of them you can't do until you're 18 and things like that. It becomes something that sort of gets brushed over a little bit, but it's definitely coming now with they had the Junior Sailing Challenge last year, which was really popular. So it's definitely becoming more of a thing to a wider audience, I think. And I travelled last year for the first time, and I went on the Rural Youth Europe rally. And like you said, it's one of the best weeks you'll ever have. And you can't stop talking about it. And we're all having a catch-up Zoom next weekend, so we'll see how that goes. But it's definitely a good thing.
I'm sure when we come back from those, we bore people to tears, because it's one of those that every conversation can come back to it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Shared common experience with people. Oh, do you remember when that happened? Or do you remember when we did this? And it's a wonderful combination of learning a lot about a fairly, hard hitting and serious topic when you're there, because the week has a certain theme. But it's also embracing meeting people who have similar challenges with their rural organisations. Just getting an insight as to how, they run it and where you can sort of share lessons learned. And
so I think a lot of us in Young Farmers will be aware of the hidden talents that it brings out in you. I, for one, never ever thought I would pick up a pair of floristry scissors in my life before I joined Young Farmers, and have since competed at County, Wales and National, and love every minute of it. So is there any hidden talents that YFC have brought out in you, Laura?
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as the word talents, but I think I've had some probably hidden experiences in terms of things that I never thought that I would do. And one of my favorite ones is shared with you, is we were the champion female bricklayers in Glamorgan. And before that, the Girls Rustic was another competition that I loved doing. And that was not through any ambition or capability of woodwork skills, but I think most of the competitions I competed in were mainly because someone needed a team making up. And you just say yes. So because you're with friends, you're in a safe environment. What's going to happen? Give it a go. And I think Girls Rustic is one of those. Another one, I managed to avoid the floral competition all through my Young Farmers membership, quite deliberately, as I knew I had no aptitude for it. But another one that I only did once, because it was quite the experience, was cookery.
Oh gosh.
When I hadn't really used an avocado before, and we managed to break a potato masher with an unripe avocado, didn't we?
Yeah, that's 100% my grandmother's fault for not buying a ripe avocado the evening before a cookery competition when we're trying to make some fresh guacamole. And I can remember your face as you turned around with the bowl in hand and half a potato masher and the other half still in the bowl. And we were like, oh, it's fine. We'll just have cubed avocado instead. So, I think that was definitely a moment that I still look back on and laugh to this day. 100%. Definitely.
It's. I think those naturally turn to kind of the county level competitions that get added into Rally Day. Lots of weird and wonderful things. And I remember when I was about 15. Did a generation game competition, was paired with my brother, and it happened to be, where there's something on a card and then you have to explain it to the other person and they have to guess it without using the words on the card and everything.
Okay.
And we had a ridiculously unfair advantage because we were siblings. We absolutely smashed it. I think we got every single one right, just because
I can imagine
we knew what to say to each other to get it right, and that will stay with me forever. It was just brilliant, and I think I've set that as a competition since, when I've been asked to do fun competitions in rallies and things, because that competition is ultimately not about success. It's purely, if you do well, great. If you don't, you're definitely going to have a good time, because you will be laughing with your partner and the judge will probably be laughing with you. So many competitions that will bring out hidden talents, but also competitions that will bring out some kind of probably unanticipated enjoyment as well.
Yeah, definitely. So quite a lot of those competitions, I can remember, sort of the junior members seem to flock to them because they might have joined club and not know anybody else, and it's a really good way to sort of meet other members in your club and then within your county and potentially Wales, like you said, if you're successful. So if you had one piece of advice to a junior member or to a potential junior member, what would that be?
One piece of advice is really...
It's tricky, isn't it?
But I think you do, I suppose you do get asked a lot, you know, whenever you have a kind of officer role or a leadership role, about what you would say to other people to, you know, encourage them and kind of enhance their experience. And I think a lot previously I've just said, take every opportunity.
Yeah, you told me that one.
Yeah, but I think on reflection, I tailor it a little bit. And I think it would be more be open to the opportunities, because you can tailor your YFC experience to be what you want out of it.
Yeah.
Not everyone, there are so many layers to young farmers, and there are so many different attributes that bring people into young farmers and reasons for joining, whether it's, you know, hearsay from a friend, or your parents were involved, or you're living in a rural community and it's, you know, it's an option for kind of a youth club and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And not everyone wants to be a leader, not everyone wants to hold a role, not everyone wants to compete. But I think it's knowing that you will add value to the organisation no matter how much you want to take part. Because if you just want to attend club meetings and listen to the talks from interesting people and take part in, you know, democracy in your local club, or you just love the competitions, or you just love the social side, you'll be a benefit to the organisation no matter how much participation you take up. And I think it is that just be open to the opportunities, because you don't know where it'll take you, and you're sure to have a good time whilst you're doing it. And I think the other thing I would say, which I'm cheating now because I've realised you asked for one,
it's fine,
is talk about YFC, especially the younger members. Because when I was in school, I wasn't in school in an overly rural area, and of a school of about 2,000 people in my comp, I was probably the only young farmer, apart from when my brother came. And I remember my first couple of years, I didn't even know how to explain it. You know, people would ask what you're doing on the weekend, and, you know, you might have been to rally day, or you might have done a public speaking competition, or you've been to visit the post office on a Monday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To see them sorting letters behind the scenes, or you've been to visit a dairy. And I didn't know how to explain it to people. And because of that, I don't think I talked about it an awful lot with people who weren't close to me. I think my close friends knew what I was doing, and they knew what it was about. But I think we'd benefit ourselves as an organisation a lot with recruitment if we spread the gospel a little bit wider than the usual audiences.
Yeah.
And it's just taking time to just talk about it and not be afraid to be asked questions about it. And, you know, as you get older, that's a lot easier. But when you're in your early teenage years, it's not necessarily something that comes naturally. So I think I would ask members to do that more actively, is to talk about YFC in circles where people don't necessarily know what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Because I can remember, similarly to you, being in a school where, you know, there was probably 10 of us that were from a farming background, and you were always the butt of a joke, and you were always, you know, questioned about what you were doing and, you know, how were the cows, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when you're in a school where, you know, there's hundreds of you that are in a more rural area and hundreds of you from farming backgrounds, everybody knows what YFC is and everybody knows what you do. But like you said, when you're moving in circles that don't really have that experience and that exposure, it is really important, because actually young farmers isn't for truly just young farmers. It's for anybody that just wants to come and have a go and have a laugh and enjoy themselves, really, isn't it?
Exactly. It's that spreading the message so that, you know, we do get a more diverse audience in terms of membership. And being able to that has so many benefits, not only for boosting numbers, but helping at a more strategic level in kind of harnessing sponsors and supporters and that kind of thing. And we're incredibly powerful as an organisation, but we have to be mindful that we need to keep promoting ourselves, and not just to those that already have an appetite to listen.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose the beauty of social media is that we can cast our net out to a wider audience a lot easier and a lot more often than probably what we could do in years gone by. Yeah,
and I think I've had mixed feelings about social media and young farmers over the last few years, and it is an incredible tool for good. Also needs to be managed very carefully, and I think it can leave us open to unwanted and unfair critique at times, because it's very easy to type something from behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
But I think so long as we remember that it's as much of a tool for good as it is anything else, and we utilise that sensibly, then it will be incredibly powerful and incredibly important in the kind of development of the organisation moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it'll be exciting to see now in the next couple of weeks at the end of July, where we would all normally be fixing the caravans up and heading to Beth, where we'll all be sort of competing on a virtual stage via Wales YFC's sort of social media platforms. So I think it'll be interesting to see how many more people we sort of engage with in that, and how it all turns out for the better, really, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And during the last sort of 3 months, it's been able to shine that spotlight on the fantastic good that clubs and counties across Wales and England are doing at the moment in the incredible roles that we already do play in our communities, but it's really come to the fore in terms of the support that clubs have been able to offer to rural communities during this time, whether it's shopping or calling people and supporting them if you live alone or have any needs, and it's been a wonderful opportunity, especially now not living in Wales anymore, to be able to see what everyone's up to and know that no matter how past a member you are or whether you live in the country anymore, you can still see that good work and that core message and benefit of young farmers is still ringing true, and that's what we've got to cling on to during these kind of really uncertain times. There is a role for young farmers in the rural community, absolutely, fundamentally. There is a role much further afield, but that will take some more development, and that will take years of effort from every level. But at its core, it's still the wonderful organisation that it was 80 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. The values haven't changed of what Young Farmers is about. It's not just a movement, it's a family, isn't it? And no matter how long ago you were part of that family, you will always be part of that family. And you're always welcome to join in any way or be supported in any way by that family. Absolutely. So I think that's a real message to any members who want to join or any current members that, you're always welcome as part of the family. Definitely. So I'm coming to sort of the end of my questions, but I've got one or two left for you. So one that I want to put to you is, if you could compete in one YFC competition again, which one would it be? And again, this is probably hard. You've probably got more than one.
I don't know. No, I might surprise you here, because I loved the experience of competing with my club members or with my county members. Or with that. I don't think there were an awful lot of competitions that I entered that were necessarily individual competitions. Mm-hmm. Because the joy I got from competing was being part of a team or being part of, that wider network of people. And so I think it certainly wouldn't be public speaking, because I absolutely loathed it.
You'd never tell.
No, I have been, it's something that got harder as I got older. And I started doing public speaking when I was about 12.
Yeah.
And it was nerve-wracking then. And I found it only got more difficult. But which sounds ridiculous then, to put yourself in the running for roles where you are going to have to speak on behalf of the organisation and on behalf of the members. But I'm glad that I did all of that, because even though I still don't relish it, I'm glad that I did it, because I needed to do it. I needed to challenge myself.
Definitely.
And I think so actually now the more enjoyment that I've had has been out of probably coaching public speaking.
Yeah.
Coaching the younger members in club, because I feel like if I can put myself through it, and I find it incredibly nerve-wracking and petrifying, and if I can do it, then everyone can do it. And I think sometimes it would be helpful to have heard that from someone who, could make a decent job of it, but didn't necessarily find it natural or something that they really thrived on. Yeah. And so that's one thing I'd love to still do, is to be able to coach youngsters. Yeah. To be able to do it and encourage them to just give it a go. Because the worst that could happen is you garble your words in front of people, but it'll set you up for life. Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of junior members who I know you've helped with public speaking. And so, as I was saying, it's just it's been incredible to see how you've been able to help younger members go from that sort of shy, quiet person who would be in the club, and then sort of 2-3 weeks later, after competing for a public speaking competition, are then vibrant and loud and enjoying themselves in a different way to what they have done previously at Young Farmers. So yeah, I think that's a great thing that you've been able to achieve there. So yeah, we'll move on to a question that probably a lot of us think about as members, and what Young Farmers is going to be in the future. But what do you see is the biggest challenge facing YFC in the coming years? I think it's interesting to think about the word challenge now, because had you asked, 4 months ago, then people would give very different answers, and the world looked very different. Completely. I think in the immediate term, it's going to be, I've got to say, I think clubs and counties and Wales YFC and NFYFC have done an incredible job in adapting to the circumstances that we're finding ourselves in, 100%. And still being able to provide that support to young people and the areas of interest, and keeping people's spirits up, and all that kind of thing, and keeping that YFC message alive. And I think taking that aside for 1 second, because there's so much uncertainty as to what the next sort of year will look like. I think modernising as an organisation is probably our biggest challenge, and would have been a challenge, pre-2020. Yeah. I'd like to see digitalisation happen. I'd like to see digitalisation of membership. I think there would be so many more opportunities to make, efficiencies. If we were able to have a digital membership, I think retention of members would be a lot easier. Yeah. And I just think some of that admin burden would be reduced. Funding is always going to be a challenge for a voluntary organisation. And I think, those skills in being adaptable will need to be at the core of what we do moving forward, because funding models are going to change. It's not going to look the same in 2021. There'll be much more kind of project-based funding available rather than core funding, I'd have thought. Yeah. And it's being able to, adapt then and take on, be a bit more agile in terms of how we can run things, be a lot more open to, sharing county resources, and working more kind of pan-county and pan-club than in silos. And there's some great examples of where that's working at the moment. But I think the key to digitalisation is probably getting our fee structure sorted across every level of the organisation, and to be able to maybe baseline that a bit more against each other to take a more kind of pan membership approach to how funding and how the membership levy can unlock the opportunities that Young Farmers provides, and be able to future-proof that by probably making some tough decisions.
Yeah.
And probably having some difficult conversations and uprooting systems that have been in place for decades.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think it's worth, tearing up the roots to assess where you are. And put in place the structures to be able to take the organisation forward into the future. Yeah,
definitely. I think the last sort of 3-4 months and what we've been going through, we were stood on the edge of a cliff, and it sort of pushed us off. But at the end of the day, we're still only a drop in the ocean. And I think, like you said, digitalisation now is going to be such a big thing, and a way to move forward and bring the sort of movement in line with that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Fab. Well, our last sort of talking point then, Laura, we've gone back over your sort of memories and your time in Young Farmers, and now we're just going to look at or talk about your sort of reflections and your hopes for Young Farmers. So what you can take away from it and what you hope others can do, and your hopes for the movement in the future.
And considering hopes for the future, which I think is easier to answer, of course I want to see YFCs thrive. And recently was only the conclusion of my chapter as a member, so now I'm firmly in the supporters club. If I had a magic wand, I think I'd erase any thoughts of them and us across the board, as I think it'll allow us to achieve greater cohesion. I think working positively together, harnessing the passion and dedication that runs throughout the whole organisation would definitely put us in the strongest position to continue the essential work that we deliver for young people and rural communities. Reflections, that's much harder. Most recently, how special it was to be elected to represent the members of Wales. And as a non-Welsh speaker, to be trusted to lead a bilingual organisation is something that meant a lot and always will. Throughout my membership, I've had brilliant experiences and learned so much, met so many fantastic people, had the pleasure of working with talented officers and staff. And the thing I'll treasure most is the lasting friendships I've made. I think in simplest terms, I owe so much to the organisation, and I will be forever grateful.
Fab. Well, that's brought us to the end of our little time together and our chat today. It's been really nice to catch up with you, Laura, and hear about some things that I didn't even know, even after this many years of friendship, about your time in Young Farmers. So it's been fantastic, and I'm sure our listeners have really enjoyed it too. I know you've been an inspiration to so many members across the years, from club, county, Wales and national level. So thank you very much for your time today and sharing with us again. And I hope you inspire some new members and some junior members when they listen to this too.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much for listening to this edition of the YFC and Me podcast. We hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Wales YFC podcast. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any other episodes coming up. And thank you for supporting our movement once again. Until the next time, we look forward to seeing you then.